What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley. You can follow me over on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28. That's the one, the oldie. It is Scott Savage. You can find him on Twitter at Savage. Scott, happy Monday, buddy.
Oh man, my eyes are feeling it. If anybody's wondering, I was up way too late last night.
What were you playing?
One game leads into the other. Roller Champions, believe it or not. I'm actually a really good fan.
Oh yeah, yeah, you liking that one, are you?
Oh yeah, I've played enough of it now where I start to get good, and then I can really appreciate it.
Yeah, you feel in the groove. That's what happens sometimes you kick in over there. But dude, people can kick in over on twitch.tv/the official ITG and over at YouTube at ITG Reviews at 11 a.m. Eastern to join us live. But you can't join us live. Hit us up later inside the game.ca podcast services and TV streaming networks around the globe. Scott, coming up on today's show, Nintendo released a new Switch console and you didn't even know it. That's a weird one, but we'll get into why. The Quarry was supposed to be on Google Stadia's platform. What happened there? And Resident Evil 7 Biohazard will not be a free upgrade for PlayStation 5 users. Wah, wah, wah. Scott, are you ready, buddy?
Oh, I'm ready.
Good, because I've been waiting all week to talk about games, so let's get going. Nintendo confirms the release date of a new Switch console. This comes from Tyler Fisher over comicbook.com. I got some energy in me. So I 3 coffees in, really about like maybe 1.5, because I haven't finished any of them yet, so we'll see how today goes. Nintendo has confirmed that it released...
You're only halfway there.
Yeah, that's right. Released a new Nintendo Switch console to counter the hacking that targeted the system. When exactly this new console version is released, well, improvements made it exactly... What improvements it made exactly, we don't know, but it released was confirmed during the trial involving Nintendo and Team Executor hacked Gary Bowser. The trial concluded with a 40-month prison sentence for the latter, and dude, that's a long time. And now some documents from the case have surfaced online, revealing more details and insight, including word of the aforementioned console. Dude, they released a new console to fix the hacking issue. That's what's happened here.
Oh man, that's an expensive change, that's for sure. But let's take note here: Gary Bowser, but not Doug Bowser here. We have a good and a bad Bowser.
That's well, welcome to Mario. Quote, Nintendo has had to release a new version of our hardware in response to one of these hacking tools, and this modification entailed countless hours of engineering and adjustments to our global manufacturing and distribution chains, and of course corresponding resources, end quote, said Nintendo of the console. Quote, to be clear, these effects are a direct result of the defendant and Team Executor attacking our technology protection measures, end quote. Scott, it's all a whole, man, what an expensive move, getting hacked, then have to reissue a whole new console to get around this issue. At that point, Scott, don't you think we should just get the Nintendo Switch 2?
At this point, I would say yeah. But how much of a difference did they have to make? Was there an issue just in the structure, the design of the device actually, that opened it up to being, opened up further? It seems kind of weird, because I only have some personal experience with my 3DS going back a decade ago. Oh, they constantly had updates to try and prevent piracy, and not that I was on the pirate side, but I was able to do some homebrew stuff to it, and it didn't really seem to set off any red flags, but this certainly did. And I'm wondering, when exactly did this happen? Because if it happened in the last 6 months, just go to Super Switch.
Well, that's just it. At what point do you just call it quits and then move on to the next? Because we know something's got to be in the pipeline for the future of the Switch. They can't keep pushing the OLED or even the last gen of the Switch on new consumers, because Breath of the Wild 2 probably isn't going to run all that great on the old version versus what could be potentially extremely profitable to move forward into the next gen. The minute they announce, hey, here's the Switch 2, it's just gonna go gangbusters again. It'll fall on that Nintendo Switch family. The Switch is constantly selling. I heard some people going, they don't need another Switch. What?
Well,
I beg to differ, man.
Yeah, as time goes on and the technology only gets better and better, the Switch stands out like a sore thumb. Well, but I'm noticing that this change supposedly happened in 2018. That's about the same time when I picked up my Switch.
Yeah.
So I may have the new one, but I'm not even aware.
No, that's just it. They was so quiet and so hushed. They just issued a new one. Nobody even knew about it, but it was all to counter this hacking situation that went on, and it just blows my mind. And that's where we're at. But if it was 4 years ago, I guess in that case, right? They're not really considering at that point a new Switch. The big question now is, when is the new Switch coming? Because if you take a look at Unreal Engine 5 as an example, or even the newest version of Unity, dude, these engines are powerful, and there's no way they can push that power to this console.
Yeah, it's really hard to see. I don't think it would work out super well. And we know the kind of latency issues that happen with really high graphically intense games. So that's unfortunate. But oh, come on, Nintendo, don't get lost in the past.
Wow, that's
Although you like to sell me the past, don't get stuck there.
they certainly do. Another Switch, an old Nintendo Mario game coming back at you. That's what's gonna happen.
If they show off something new, Breath of the Wild 2, Splatoon 4, we're at this point, well, that would get a lot of excitement under a new console. I think it could be a very easy transition.
Do you think they launch Breath of the Wild 2 with the new Switch?
I'm thinking so. As time goes on, and still not seeing anything about this game, it makes me think that it's in development for the next gen.
It has to be. At this point, you got to think that's when it's coming, right? It's been so quiet. We've heard almost nothing about this game. We got a little bit of a teaser. Then they did show off some gameplay of flight floating through the clouds, which looks incredible. But you can't think that that's going to be running on last gen Switch. You got to think it's moving forward. They have to be moving forward sometime soon. I know Nintendo has come right out and said that they are nervous to launch a new Switch, which I'm going, really? Like, are you just because you're going to be short on parts? Because we all know how part shortage right now is a major concern, right, with the consoles. But if you keep selling the old Switch, why make a new one?
I can kind of understand that, but at the same time, just don't name it anything with a U. Man. Perhaps that's what causes the issue. The Wii sold insane, and then the Wii U just crashed.
Yeah, and then the Switch came out, and that changed everything. Now we have the Steam Deck, which is kind of like that next iteration. Dude, take a look at the Steam Deck versus the Switch. That's a huge leap forward in technology, right? So, God, I think it's coming soon. I can't wait because it's definitely overdue, I think. But Scott, we talk about the future a lot on this show. Let's talk about what happened to Stadia. And the Quarry was reportedly a Stadia game originally. It comes from David over at PSU. This one's interesting, man. A new report from the website Axios claims the sources close to development of the Quarry revealed the project actually started as a Stadia initiative, and Supermassive Games pivoted to Take-Two under Take-Two Interactive as its publisher. Once it was clear Google had no more interest in building out Stadia's platform. What's that tell you right there, Scott? The minute that a developer is in the middle of their game, Stadia went, nah, we're out, and then that's when they bounced. That sucks, dude. To hear if you're a Stadia fan.
What a hiccup. Well, what a hiccup. And it does show that there was just not much confidence in Stadia, which is so unfortunate. I think we had more confidence than
I think
folks at Google did.
Absolutely. When asked about Google's involvement in the Quarry, a Take-Two representative said that Supermassive, quote, was looking for a publisher partner as the project came to completion, end quote. From Google's original Stadia announcement, many were quick to point out the corporation's history for dumping money into a project only to forget about it soon after, for whatever reason, Scott. And that's exactly what's going on here. Dude, there's nothing coming out, really. Like, it really irritates me because I really thought that they had something with the Google Stadia platform, man. They're leading the charge in streaming. Now, honestly, at this point, from what I've seen, Xbox surpassed them on this whole forefront, right? And now PlayStation's getting in the mix too. I'm currently on the PlayStation premium side, checking out the streaming thing and seeing how that whole situation works. And depending on the game, honestly, some works better than others. You can check out our review coming up very quickly on that one. That's for sure. And it's just, Stadia had something, Scott, and then they just let it die. They get rid of Jade Raymond. They shut her whole studio down. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, that was a huge sign. As soon as that happened, absolutely. I thought, okay, well, there's not a lot of first party ever going to be developed here.
No.
What did we played Guilt, and what was that Tequila Works?
Yes, it was. Absolutely. Good
call,
buddy.
That was an absolutely great game, and I'm still hoping for a sequel, whether it's Stadia or not.
It won't be Stadia at this point.
It's not going to be Stadia. No. How long do they sell that service for? It's a big mystery, that whole situation.
You know, I've got some people in the industry that I know. A good friend of mine, John Scar, is actually a huge Stadia fan to the point where he's got it tattooed on his arm.
Holy.
The big commitment, right? Like, he's made his way with Stadia fans. Everybody loves John. I love John. The guy's incredible, and he really sticks up for the platform. I'm still just a little cautious and a little nervous for the future of Stadia. With the minute, dude, like you said, right? The minute they drop Jade Raymond, I almost considered it over. Like that was the end of it. That was, and then Jack Buser moves departments and he's switching over too. I'm like, he was the one that was leading the charge to bring in games. Jade was bringing in the first party studio stuff to start making and developing first party games. Both of those positions now are gone. Like the future of Google Stadia for me, from this perspective now, in this state of the game, dude, I think they're done. Well, it's only a matter of time, I think, before they shut it down, which is so disappointing because they could have had something here.
It is disappointing, but it does have a special point in history, though. I think Stadia is what caused everybody else to kind of look at the cloud computing issue.
That's fair.
Opportunity, I should say.
No, absolutely, right? Now you see PlayStation. No, they have PlayStation Now, and that was a streaming technology. Then now they've bundled everything into the whole PlayStation Premium situation. And as confusing as that is, it's leading the charge. Everybody now is talking about working on the cloud. How do you stream through the cloud? How do you do this? How do you do that? It's all cloud, stream, right? And that's the future. You saw Xbox just announced that they're working with Samsung TVs now, that they'll have Xbox Game Pass on there with the ability for you to stream their games from Game Pass. You don't need a console anymore. It's strictly streaming, and now it is hardwired in, I believe, through the TV. So your internet connection is hardwired, plugged right into the TV, and it allows you to then stream from Xbox Game Pass. But dude, that's the future where it's lining up right now. Now, granted, there are some concerns, right, with countries not being able to tap into that side and have the faster internet. And that is definitely an issue. Dude, I have fast internet. I'm streaming on PlayStation right now. Some games are coming in at like 720, man.
Oh, yeah. It's your part of the infrastructure is only part of the situation. It gets complicated when they're trying to run a server bank. Can you imagine the server banks that support the PlayStation ecosystem? They must be massive, square kilometers.
Gotta be huge, right? But Stadia was there at the forefront. 4K streaming if you get Pro, and you have this and they have that, and then they just, again, like Google, what Google does, just send it out to the ether and let it die. Brad joins us over in twitch.tv/the official ITG, and it kind of points out that Vita is the same way with PlayStation. That's fair. Oh man, Vita. Where's the Vita 2? At this point,
still stings.
Dude, it does sting, right? You got the Switch, you've got the Steam Deck. Yo, where's the Vita 2? Come on. They're not going to do it though, because now they're into the whole streaming. Why would you bother? You can just stream the games instead of having to build a whole nother, piece of hardware and tech. It's just not worth it, I don't think, from PlayStation's eyes. At this point, I don't know if it is worth it anymore, to be honest. Let Steam and Nintendo do their thing.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Do they come out with anything new, anything flashy, anything exciting? Are we going to get a Vita 2 from Stadia?
No.
Not the same. But
no, not even close.
Situation.
Scott, let's jump over to the world of PlayStation Plus. Collections of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard won't upgrade to PS5 for free. Dang. This comes from Sammy over Push Square. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard free PS4 to PS5 upgrade is not available for PlayStation Plus collection. We actually spotted this last night when we went to redeem, but the story has since been doing the rounds on sites like IGN. This isn't the first time we've experienced a situation like this. Initially, the PlayStation Plus version of Final Fantasy VII Remake wouldn't upgrade from PS4 to PS5 until Square Enix later had a change of heart. To be honest, it's unclear where to pinpoint blame here. There are examples of PlayStation Plus freebies upgrading, so this is potentially on Capcom. However, the Japanese publisher could perhaps argue that it is only paid by Sony to include the PS4 version of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard in the PlayStation Plus collection, and seen as it's invested additional effort into the port, well, it's understandable that they won't get paid for it, Scott. Makes a lot of sense, dude. The game's already there. Just shift it over. That's kind of where we at, right?
Yeah, there has to be some sort of sizable difference, though. So there is a lot of development time to consider. It's not just free for Capcom to switch.
Nope.
Flip a switch and it's better now. But I know you're not going to touch Resident Evil 7.
No,
but I'm just wondering. That game was very good looking at the time. Now I think I played it about 2 years ago, so it's gotten a little age since then. But oh man, I'm wondering, like, if I upgrade that in my Series X, what is that gonna be like? Time to go through all that DLC after all.
Yeah, no, there obviously is. It's time management. It's more resources put into the development of the game to then up-res it to the next gen, right? And if Sony's not going to pay for that port to come over to PlayStation 5 through the PS Plus collection, you kind of you do it for the fans. You just ignore it. Like, there's so many ways you can kind of go about it. Obviously, as gamers, we just want the best that we could have at all times, but sometimes it comes at a price, and if Capcom's not willing to pay that price, then you're kind of stuck with what you got. And
well, they may be in active development of Resident Evil 9 at this point too. And
yeah,
if that's the case, all hands on deck.
Well, that's just it, right? Maybe they just moved on to the next IP that, or in the next project that they're working on. Everybody's too busy to go back to even worry about it. So there are that too, but I think it really comes down to, does Sony want to pay for it? And I don't know if Sony really cares to pay for it, because Resident Evil just sells, and there's so many Resident Evil games that why bother? You're going to play it regardless, right? You're going to get in there, you're going to have a good time. It may not look like PS5 generation, but it's still going to be on your PS5, going to run smoother because it's got more horsepower behind it and all the specs that run with the PS5 versus the PS4. So there's a lot of things to kind of give and take, but at the same time, dude, Resident Evil fans, I think, will still regardless enjoy the game.
Oh, yes. Oh, I have a huge amount of respect for what Capcom can do with their reimaginings. The Resident Evil 2 remaster and 3, so good.
Yeah.
You'll have to take my word for it.
I'll take your word for it. Yeah, we'll go with that. But Scott, what I do know is good is Returnal. Let's talk about how Housemarque is looking at ideas that didn't work in Returnal for its new original IP. Let's go some David over at PSU. Here's why I like Housemarque. Dude, they don't do sequels. It's, we're done this project, boom, let's start a new one. And they're always iterating and moving on to something new. You never see them go back, and we probably will never get a Returnal 2. Right? It's a one and done thing. We had Resogun. That was a one and done thing. There's so many games that just kind of was once off, and then that's it. Then they transition over to something else. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
DLC expansions?
Yep, definitely. Returnal did get DLC. Returnal did get a co-op mode added in as well. They did get a save state, even though it was a little funky. They did get a save state within the game as well, because when you played it, dude, they expected you to play that game and just beat the whole thing in one run, and that's not how I can play this game, I'll tell you that.
Well, it was an interesting roguelite. Yeah, you don't see that specific blend too often. That's not easy.
No, it's not easy. So it's nice to see that they're going to be moving on to another one. But Housemarque has been open before about how the process for developing Returnal was a lot of learning just how to even make a game in this new scale. And as in any creative process, a lot of ideas are left to the wayside. Well, that's definitely one of the things, right? When you're making new games, not everything can make it. When you're designing a game, sometimes you got to cut this idea, cut that idea, and maybe just put it on the back burner for your next game or the next sequel.
Turn it into an entire project sitting on the shelf in Ubisoft somewhere.
Well,
Skull and Bones.
There's that, right? According to an upcoming interview with Evie Korhinen, senior narrative designer at Housemarque, the studio is looking forward to pick up the pieces and see how those fit our new IP story. Dude, that's cool. I'm so anxious to see what they left on the table. Will they even get into that discussion, right? Housemarque's next project is going to be an original IP, so it is fair to say we shouldn't expect any kind of crossover in terms of the narrative. So what is left on the table when it comes to Returnal that they can use in the next IP? Did they stick with the same genre, Scott, or did we move into something else? Well, obviously we're not going back to the world of Returnal, so where are we going from here? Like, dude, there's so many questions now that come up, right? What can you take from a game like this that didn't work and put it into the new IP that's moving forward with your studio? So amazing.
It makes me wonder what other kind of gameplay elements were there, what other kind of styles to the maps, what other systems were at work in this game. I'm not familiar with Returnal exactly.
No, for sure, right? It's so it's funny because Housemarque is known for their twin stick shooters, and this was a third-person twin stick shooter-esque roguelite experience. If I kind of sum it up in one.
Oh, I think every first-person shooter requires two sticks.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean.
Unless you're playing GoldenEye.
Yeah, well,
I'm still mad about.
Dude, GoldenEye was sick. But it's I'm very curious to see though, right? Like, what mechanics did they have that they were looking to see if they can get into this game, and it didn't match the flow. Returnal is an amazing game, so everything that they took out obviously has worked within this world. Dude, you have to get into this and play it somehow, some way. You need to come over, dude, and I'll just put it on.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to borrow your PlayStation.
That's yep, we could. Scott, I want to jump ahead. I'm skipping the Xbox one for now. I want to jump into, you ready for this? Diablo Immortal earned $24 million during its first 2 weeks on the App Store for Google. Dude, this is insane. We talked about it. We talked about how absurd it is that people are spending so much money, or they have to, in order to grind this game. And yet within the first 2 weeks of it being available, it sold $24 million.
Oh, that might be related, because I saw something, I think it was happened yesterday. There was a streamer that had spent, I think, 14,000, it was either dollars or euros, I can't recall, but a lot of money, and they finally got their first level 5 gem, I believe it is, to kind of access the end game. You need so many of these gems, and it cost them several thousand, which is insane. Now, this is a streamer that had the funds to put to it and kind of made a production out of it, but oh man, some of this these millions could be explained that way.
Absolutely. It comes from Stephanie over at VG247. Despite some controversy over the microtransactions present in the game, Diablo Immortal appears to be a monetary hit for Activision Blizzard, according to App Magic data obtained by Pocket Gamer, thanks to Game Informer Biz or GamesIndustry.biz. Since its June 2nd release on mobile, the game has been downloaded almost 8.5 million times, and players have spent $24 million on in-game transactions. Wow. The revenue is split almost equally between Apple's App Store and Android, with 13 million and 11.3 million earned through respective stores. Dude, it doesn't matter what platform you're on, you're about the same. So that's a ton of money. Broken down by region, Japan accounted for 8% of the total spending, Germany 6%, Canada 3%, the US 43%, and Korea was 23% of that spending. Dude, that is just insane. That is nuts.
A huge American market for anything Diablo. That makes sense.
I'm not a Diablo fan whatsoever, but here it is. Brad joins us over at Twitch and says a Diablo Immortal player spent $15,000 getting a rare gem, then destroyed it in a protest. Streamer Quinn69 then immediately deleted his character and then uninstalled the game.
Oh, well, you know what? After 15,000, I can't blame him.
I can't blame him either. But Scott, what do we?
I hope this is the end of loot boxes. Can we please just do away with loot boxes?
I doubt it, but it is the end of the show. Scott, what game do we have out today?
We have Autonauts on the Switch.
Yeah, dude, that releases are all over today. Actually, I saw at one point it was a release for Uncharted Nathan Drake Collection on PC, and I double checked that. That is not true. That is not true at all. But Scott, what is true is that's the end of the show. Everybody, thank you for hanging out with us. As always, you can join us live over on twitch.tv/the official ITG, as well as YouTube at ITG Reviews. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later inside the game.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. Of course, hit us up over on Twitter, the official ITG. Let us know, are you playing Diablo? Until tomorrow, I'm Drew. That's Scott. We'll see you inside the game.